It's a sister situation with sipping conversation.
All right, thank you and welcome. Thank you for coming back to join us for part 2 of Simply Sisters. We're still here with Dr. Ebony Stone, and she's giving us the lowdown on her new book that she's written called The Power of the Pause.
That wine sharing. Drinking Chardonnay.
You know, I had a question from the last episode. I think, and I don't know why, I guess I'm just cut that way, but I am a person who helps people who are ill, helps people, like I'm just Superman throwing her cape, I'm there. But it really pulls at my own mental and emotional health to do so. So I was wondering, after you sent me the 15 therapists off your phone, I was wondering, how did you come to realize that you needed this help?
Yeah. So I talk about it in the book. We all have ups and downs. Sometimes you're sad, right? Sometimes you're happy. I won't even get into it, but sometimes, a lot of times that's chemical, right? You understand that.
Yeah.
But I have been dealing with physical health issues for a while, and you get to, or at least I got to a point in life where I was like, I'll be okay. They'll give me a pill for it. I don't really want to take the pill, but they'll give me a pill for it. I'll be okay. I can take care of that in 6 months. I need to go to the gym, but I got all this stuff that I need to do. So next quarter, we'll do that, right? And so my physical health continued to decline, but my mental health was declining. Like, I was a mess. Y'all should ask my kids about it. I was slamming doors around the house. Y'all might have saw me out and loving on the kids and loving on Carter. They was at home getting it. They was getting the business. And at work, I was going to work, like, okay, I gotta work. He just checked, so I'm okay. But in the inside, I'm like, I am a mess. I'm gonna get control of this. I'm gonna get control of this. I'm gonna get control of this. Until I just literally fell apart. Right? Okay. And then I said, my doctor said to me, keep it up. You're gonna have a stroke, a heart attack, or worse. And I was like, oh, you're telling me I'm going back. And I was like, I gotta do something about this. And so at that point, I was like, I gotta hit the brakes. I gotta find a therapist. But even then, I was like, I'm just gonna get a therapist. We're gonna talk through this and we'll be all right. She's like, we need way more to talk about, right? So I think it is important that we stop and we listen to our own bodies.
Pause.
We gotta pause.
Yeah.
Pause for the cause.
Yeah.
And what you did in your book that really just hit home for me, and what makes your book so good, is you wrote your story, but then at the end you explained. First of all, I want to say this: someone told you that they complimented your writing, and I felt that because I read many good books that had good information, but the way it was written, it just didn't deliver it in a way that kept me interested. And you wrote in such a way that things were very clear as to what happened to you, how you got to where you were. It was a page turner. And then at the end, you went on to step by step, talk about, you didn't just give a title of The Power of the Pause, you even gave a step-by-step listing of how to do it. But always with the caveat, this is not the all-in-all, because a lot of people like to put their story out there, and you just do what I did, and you're going to be okay.
It'll be okay.
You constantly were clear on, this worked for me. So letting people know if this doesn't work for you, first of all, recognize that you've got something going on. And my steps may not work for you, but you need to find the steps. You were very clear on that. And then the questions at the end. So the book, the story ended, your story ended, but then there was so much more, and it had me, I was sitting down with a pen and paper at the end answering the questions.
Thank you. So I wish I could just say, like, that was all me, but I really feel like it was God inspired, right? Because when I sat down to write, I wrote to heal, to help me heal, not to write a book. And then later realized, oh wait, I need to turn this into a book. Like, I can hear that I'm being pushed to do that. I got an editor to help me with that. So I also, to your point, what worked for me is not going to work for everybody. I don't want anybody to say, oh, I read Ebony's book and I quit my job.
Right.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, right? I don't have any money for you. I can't pay your bills. Please do
Don't
not.
come for me.
Right, don't. But the goal is for you to know that there is an avenue out there. You just got to search for it. But and all you have to do first is accept that you need to do something. And then things will come. Like even like now, things seem to be, I know they're not falling out of my hand. That's how it feels. But I know it's God because I am listening and moving in what is important for me and what I feel He is pushing me toward.
Yeah, and actually, the title to me, like knowing that I know you're a Christian woman, the title itself, the power of the pause, and it just took me back to, I believe it's in Psalms, maybe, where he said, be still to know that I am God. So that word still means to be steadfast, to pause, so to me it's like, whenever somebody say, I needed to stop, I needed to pause, I needed to stop and let God come in front and show you where to go. So when you say it is God, then that's still, everybody, yes, is not spiritual, but in some type of power or being, whatever you believe in, there's still the word still and still the word pause.
Yes.
So, that word in general, just you need to stop and listen.
Yes.
Baby sister.
I think you have to
I'm
give
still
your...
the youngest, but
We're
in the same year.
I always say never discount the wisdom of the youth. But the other piece of that is you sometimes, and this is something I struggle with and that my therapist has helped me with, I think some of us, for me, I have to give myself permission to stop.
We talked about our childhoods, right? And growing up. Just think back. As little black girls, you can never stop. Like, you're always going. You come home, you have the chores. You go outside, you gotta be the good girl. You go to school, you gotta get the grades. Like, you're always going. Nobody ever gives you permission to just stop. And when you pause, it is extremely uncomfortable. I talked about it in the book. Like, my therapist took me off work, and I was still trying to justify being off work. I was trying to figure out what to do. I need to set some goals. I need to, and it's like, no, you need to just stop. And I'm like, well,
But
why do
most
that?
people
I don't know
don't.
how to do that.
Most people, and I'm not saying that they can't understand. I'm not saying that men can't understand that, but just women in general, and then being a black woman, we multitask. Like they said, when our brains are going like this, and they have like 4 thoughts at a time. And to them 4 thoughts, I got all these. If my calendar was not doing everything, stuff on the back seat, we're the business manager. We're the home managers. When I said that I was I stopped saying I'm a housewife. Bump that. I am a home engineer.
Yes. Yes.
But my husband said something to me about it often as I'm going through this journey, right? He said, you can't keep saying you need help and still doing it all yourself.
Yes.
I need you to let me help. I was like, boom.
And let them help without directing them, because that's what I struggle with.
I'm like, but
You're
wait,
not
no, pick
doing
that up
it
and
right.
put that there.
Right.
You're not doing
And
it the
some of
way
this
I
stuff
want
is-
it.
Some of this stuff is self-inflicted too, because you spend so much time in building that strong woman.
Yes.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, well, I'm like, I'll say, I can't do this. I start kind of falling apart and then say, well, you have put this persona, this thing out that says you can do it.
Yeah.
So all the people are resting on you,
Yeah.
are giving it to you because you carry yourself that way.
Because we created that for them to see. We
created a
that
person
because
that
of
can't fail.
all the stuff from childhood. Now we didn't create this person that we want to take a pause from. And like you said, you have to learn how to give yourself permission to take pause.
To take
Yeah.
yes.
And that pause has to be what is in a way that is powerful for you.
Yeah.
One of the things that is really important to me, and I found it in 2020, because I needed to get away from my family. I love them, but we were all I was a VP of Learning and Development. So not only was I leading a team, we were onboarding people. So there were new people that I was in front of all the time. There was my team, my kids. I was trying to make sure they had school. My husband was home. He's never home. He was home, and then he can't sit still. So he was building stuff. I'm in meetings. There's songs going on. Like, all of this is happening. At one point, I was in a meeting, and my boss goes, "What is that?" I was like, "I'm sorry. It's an air compressor." Like, I had to go tell him. So I just needed to back away. And so I went outside, and I started a little bitty garden, which you can tell me is not little bitty anymore. I'm a whole farmer. I'm a whole farmer.
She showed some of her pictures of herself.
I'm a whole farmer. But I go outside sometime, and I'll say I'm going, to look at the plants, but really, I'm just going because I need to stop.
Yeah.
Pause. And
Get
that's my place where I can go. And most people leave me alone. The kids don't want to go.
Yeah.
Pulling no
So
weeds.
I ain't going out there with her. She
Yes.
gonna ask me to dig a hole.
Yep. I know that. Yep. It's so true. And I don't let anything in that space, you talked about positivity, I don't let anything in that space that's bother me.
Yeah.
Even the smallest things. So yesterday, I went out there and had one of the snips, and I was going to prune some tomato plants. And when I went to do it, my husband said, "Did you sterilize those?" I said, "Come on, let's go to the store," right? Because I'm not, that's going to be a whole argument. Let's just go to the store. Let's just leave this positivity right
This
here.
ain't the moment.
This ain't the moment,
This
right?
ain't the time.
You just got to realize when you just got to pull back. And pausing doesn't mean you have to do anything.
I
Just
agree.
Right.
I can relate with that, especially with going through this therapy, because I felt very disconnected. I feel like I'm trying to figure out how am I processing things, and I'm going back because I feel that it started with me losing my mom younger, and just with my family trying to help me through it, moving me along. And so once you keep getting moved along, you just do what you got to do, but you're not. It's like I'm not present. It's like I'm like, what do I even really feel? Like, what I feel bad, but why do I feel bad? I'm trying to figure it out. So, and then in this, my actual doctor is trying to take me off, and I'm trying to sit still, but I have to talk to myself, like you said. I have to say it's okay to just sit here and not do anything. It's okay to just sit here and not do anything. It's okay to just. I have to keep telling myself that because I'm fighting with myself.
even once I made the decision to put me first, I still felt guilty about the impact
Yeah.
that it would have on other people.
That's what I
was
feel
like,
guilty
well,
about.
what about my assistant? What about my team? What about
Yeah.
what about they are all grown adults.
Yeah.
Right.
They will be fine. And that company ain't missed a beat.
Yeah.
And let me say one more thing about that. If you left tomorrow, they could
stay.
still go
Yeah.
home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how corporations operate. We have watched, we had coworkers that passed away.
Yes.
And
They
they
so
give us
far
2
away.
minutes
Yeah, and like, okay,
to,
we gotta get back to
okay,
our
now we gotta get back to work.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Right,
my
remember the
God,
lady
we
that had
trying
the stroke on the way to
Yeah.
work, on the way
Yeah,
to
so
community.
they gonna always be okay, whether
Yeah.
we're there or not.
And I think we have to realize that's what corporations are built to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They're not.
Right.
And I say this too, like I've met some of the most amazing people at work. My boss was absolutely amazing. She just didn't know what was going on. Like she had no idea. She knew I had to go to when I text her, there's text messages in the book. When I text her, she texts me back like, wait, what's happening? Because I didn't tell her. Right? They're great people, but organizations are built to do.
Right.
To grow and to keep going.
Mhm.
And so we have to take responsibility for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We can't say, well, this job is making me, no, the job ain't making you nothing. You
Yeah.
are making
Yes.
And sometimes wonderful things come out of that. You know,
Yes.
you stop and give somebody else room to shine. They've been waiting.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yes,
So-
that's true. And I
Absolutely.
want to add to that, girls, some of you know this and some of you don't. When I had to leave and go to Davenport, Iowa in 2017, and then my job ended, and I had to either get a new job, and at the time I had 22, no, I had 18 years with the company at the time, before, at that time. And so I either had to get a new job with the company or just a new job in general. Well, I felt like 18 years was just too long to just be like, oh, forget it, I'll go work somewhere else. So one of my friends, she said, you know what, I know you don't want to come to Iowa, but come here, finish your time, you can retire. And that's what I did. But let me say this. When I went to Iowa, I was so depressed. I was a manager over a sales team. I could not express my depression during the day because my team they fed themselves off of me.
Yeah.
So if I was in there down and depressed with my lips stuck out, they wasn't doing nothing. So I had to go to work and pretend to be happy every day, all day, just happy, singing music. And I went home at night and I was depressed because I left everything that I knew. I left my family, my friends, my everything to go somewhere where I don't know anybody, nobody. And I'm saying that to say, I really thank God because he did help me through that time. One of the things that really helped, if y'all notice, I came home every weekend, just about. Because that was my outlet of dealing with what I had to be happy at work. I couldn't be sad like I really was inside. I was so sad. But I just thank God I made it through that time. But it was not easy. You have to do whatever it looks like for you to come out of that, or to perpetuate whatever your feelings are to make you not be sad or not be depressed. Whatever that looks like. For me, it was coming home every weekend, being with y'all, and being able to be there and out of that space in Iowa, you know. But I thank God I made it through. I was able to retire, and now I'm back home. But I'm just saying that was a really, really dark time for me.
And you were grieving the loss of your future.
Yes.
The loss of your relationship, whether you were wanted it or not, you still grieve the loss. And that's what I learned, but you're still grieving the loss of something as well.
And I think we think people don't recognize it. And people may not recognize it for what it is, but they recognize something. And so I don't think people recognize something in me, but they recognize the difference now. I run into people, I was at home.
That's one of my favorite places.
That's one of my favorites.
So I was at home with my mother-in-law. She was shopping for planters, and I just sat down. I was like, I'm gonna be here all day. I sat down, and a young lady came, and she said, "Excuse me, are you Ebony Stone, Dr. Ebony Stone?" And she said it just like that. And I was like, "Yes." And she said, "I'm just so happy to see you." I'm like, "Who's talking to me, right?" And she told me she used to work for the company that I worked for, and she was actually on one of my teams. I didn't know her though, because I led a pretty big team, so I didn't know her. And she was like, "I wasn't sure if that was you. Something about you just looks different. Maybe you just look happy." Oh, I said, "Oh wow, wow." And then I just turned 50, so I had a big 50th birthday party.
Yeah, welcome to the Fly Club. Welcome to the club.
Not yet.
I still got it.
We're coming though.
We're waiting on it.
And here
We're
I am.
open
And
arms.
look, it's gonna come with a bang.
You look like you were part of the 40 club.
Well, no, I'm waiting for y'all to come over to my club.
Yeah, look, we almost there.
You know, I think we have to be intentional. I have that on when you walk into my door. Everything for me right now is being intentional. I made a move, you guys know, at the beginning of the year that most people, I'm not speaking to a relative right now because of the move I made, you know. I decided to retire, number one, because I was eligible, but also because it allowed me to free myself. Not that I was in something where a person was hurting me, but I waited for my children to, you know, be out of the house. And I decided to make a move, retire, so that I could set myself up to leave a marriage that I was unhappy in and had been unhappy in for 18 years. And I have a relative that's not talking to me right now because she was, you shouldn't retire, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you know, and yes. Well, you know, here's the thing, you know, I said to her, I said, you know, I'm not, you know, planning to retire and live off my retirement at this moment at 55, but I'm making this move right now because I will not die unhappy.
You know what? And it's kind of think about it, if you think about it, that was your power of pause. It's your pause.
So I made a decision, you know, I mean, and I know on a financial, if you're just looking at it, you know, in that way, oh, that's not a smart decision. My brother, who was an accountant, when I talked to him about it, I said to him, I don't want you to tell me not to do it because I'm going to do it. I want you to help me to make the right decisions in it, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And what I love, I have one brother, one sibling, he's 15 years younger, but he said to me, sis, I'm not going to try and tell you not to do it. Just let me know when you're going to do it so I can make sure you do it.
And when you say not going to do it, is they're talking about the marriage or the job?
No, the job, leaving my job, retiring, and pulling from, well, not so much retiring, but pulling from my 401 with what I planned to do. The reason I could have stayed at my job till I was 70, but it was the moment for me I said, I'm going to do it, and I started the year of 2023, my word, because I don't do resolutions, but my word was intentional. And every year, that's a lifelong word, intentional, because we have to be intentional about our healing. And you're shaking your head, so I know you, yes.
Yep, that was my, it's funny, I do words too, and that was my word a couple of years ago, was intentional. But it's fear. That's why people don't want you to leave. It's fear of perceived stability. And it's just perceived, because the reality is, it ain't there. And these 401ks, first of all, there aren't a whole lot of companies now that even give you like pensions.
I was one of like 3 people at my job that retired.
Yeah, so
they didn't get it, right? And so these 401ks are invested in the stock market. There's no guarantee that money is going to be there when you're ready for it, or is that it's going to be at the amount that you want it to be. Like, none of that is guaranteed. And the reality is, even if your job ain't guaranteed, it is not guaranteed. I worked in an industry that was it had been up for years. It was up. And I kept saying, like, at some point, this going to drop. And it dropped. And when it dropped hard. And it was like, oh, well, we're going to lose some thousands. And we did. All those people were walking around with this perceived stability that just left. It didn't exist. It's
anyway.
perceived. Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Well, I remember, I guess that was one of my pauses. I think I have a whole bunch of pauses. You know, every time, I can honestly say I am blessed to be able to work through certain things. Once I got a little taste of being a home engineer, I learned that as long as, and of course he's one of those people who did have 401s and pensions. That no longer happens. So with me, when I took that pause, when we went through the COVID was horrible for my particular job that I had. I was in disbursement delay. I was that person that had to call people and say, you're not going to get your check right now. So, and when I took the job, it was at a lower scale. The scale was, we were down here, but during that time, it literally tripled. I know, it went to 10, where we had, my department was only supposed to have 100 people that I had to call and say this with a team of 20. So I might have got 5 of those people. And it literally went to 1,000. So at this point, I'm at my house, I'm at home, we dealing with COVID, my grandmother just passed away, everything was going on. And I said to myself, I'm like, no, I can't have this in my house. I wake up in the morning literally vomiting. You know what I'm saying? So it just got to the point where I was like, hold on, pause, wait a minute. And my doctor told me, why are you still there? I can't even give you a permission to stay there when you already know this is making you ill. Your husband retired. Figure it out. off less. So I was like, okay, can't get my hair done, can't get this done, whatever. But I got my sanity.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, the job was wonderful when we were in offices. You know, the camaraderie, everything was just great. It was a great job. But that particular moment, I was like, hold on, wait. My doctor telling me, why are you still at this job? A doctor. I'm not giving you no medication. I'm going to give you 2 weeks. If you want to take 2 weeks off, I'm not giving you nothing else.
You only get one trip around the sun.
I'm like, give me that pause.
All right, so we're almost at the end of our time. I want to thank Dr. Ebony Stone for giving the
Thank
life
you.
to come back. We invite you to come back and join us, even on this episode, anytime. Yes. So if you get the chance to check out her book, The Power of the Pause, and you can also check her out on her website at Dr. Ebony Stone, www.drebonystone.com. And as always, check us out at www.sippingsisters.com and drop us a line if we choose your topic for one of our episodes. Don't forget, we're going to send you one of our Sipping Sisters wine glass. And as always, ladies, cheers!